Guys, we're sitting in a 2011 BMW X1. We're going to be adding our 10.25 inch Android display. This car does not have the factory iDrive system, so it just has the little cavity on the dash. This screen is going to completely transform this car. Yes, the screen is compatible with cars that have the factory iDrive system, but for cars without the iDrive system, and you've just got the little cavity, this screen is amazing because it just completely transforms the interior. The screen features Apple Carplay and Android Auto on top of all of the Android features, and it even comes with a little Idrive controller for the little cavity behind the gear selector. We'll go through all of that stuff later on, but for now let's go look at what's in the box. Alright guys, this is the kit. Inside we've got the main wiring harness, which we'll go through, show you how to install all of this stuff. We've got another little cable here, part of the harness, part of the main harness I should say. The new little iDrive controller, which will go in the cavity that we spoke about earlier. GPS antenna, again part of the main harness. That's all the wiring side of things. And then the new screen right there, and that will fill up the original cavity. It's going to really transform this car. Keen to see how it all looks when it's done. So let's go look at disassembly of the car. So for disassembly, we're going to be removing this panel right here, the cavity itself, which is obviously where our new screen's going to sit. The main radio and climate, the main radio and climate control, and also the gear selector area. What we're going to start with is just this stuff here. This panel is all clips, so using a plastic panel removal tool, we can get underneath and pop the whole thing out. It's always handy to have a little pick with you. So when you get to things like this, you've got plugs. Sometimes, most of these cars are pretty easy, BMWs I mean, but for some cars they're a lot more difficult, so a little pick will help. Okay, this is actually pretty tight on the plug end, so what you can do is just from behind, push on this panel here, or this plug, and you can pull that out and unplug it. Make your life a lot easier. Now for the cavity itself, removing this panel is going to expose two T20 Torx bits. And what you need to do is get a T20 screwdriver and remove both of those. Okay, I can tell you right now, those screws are going to be very easy to drop. So if you don't have a magnetic screwdriver, be very careful. You can literally pull the whole cavity out once you've removed those two screws. We've got a nice big area here, so we're going to keep this exposed because I know we're going to fit one of our antennas there later. All right, next up, we're going to start removing the center section right here. So remove those screws. We can start with the gear selector. I'm going to pop this panel right up. You can actually just pull straight up on that if you want to. Okay, it's got two plugs on it, which you will just unplug. Okay, now with that up, I don't think we need to remove the gear selector, but if we do, I will get to that later. And then what we want to do is this panel here. You can either pull from this area, or you can use your panel removal tool and start prying it up. We should be able to pull just like that. Pop the whole thing out. Okay, then just very carefully maneuver that out. On the back of this panel, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Torx 20 screws. We're going to remove those and replace them with our iDrive controller. So this little cavity here will become a new controller for the iDrive, or for the new screen rather. Next up is this panel right here. I've already released one side. So what we did, I just got a panel popper on this side here and just pried it up nice and easy. And then you can pretty much get your hands underneath and just pull back on it, right? Just release it like that. Now that will also have a little plug. Now that's like a ribbon cable, which you can't see. So that's a ribbon cable there, but it's connected to the back of this climate control. Okay, now that's the climate out. So you've got two plugs on the back of the climate control, and these panels are connected together. So you can leave them together if you want, and then just set that away somewhere safe. Okay, that's going to expose two Phillips heads actually. They're not Torx screws. Okay, with those out, you can pull the whole radio back. That's the radio out. Now we can put that away. Would you look at that?
Wow. Would you look at that?
Yeah, that is the new iDrive controller in the factory position with the factory hardware. It does have a little plug on the back here. So let's go look at the cable that we need to run. Now in the kit, we've got this little plug here. It's different on each end. So make sure you run the right cable to the right side. The thin side of the plug plugs into the controller. So that obviously stays down here. And then we're going to run this up behind all of this stuff and up to the screen. That's where it's going to plug in. So I'll get that done. I'll loom this up, run it through, and then we can move on to the next section. So looking at the main section of the harness, what we're going to do is basically a plug and play connection right here, and just taking note of any fiber optic connections. Now this car does not have it, however some vehicles are going to have a fiber optic plug right here. What you need to do is remove it, it's just got a little pin on it, and plug it into the new section of the harness. Okay, if you don't do that, a lot of the features, most of the features in the car will stop working, and the reason why will be that. Okay, then what you want to do, pop that straight in. Now the quad lock, I already inspected it. It does have the AUX connection hardwired, but sometimes in these BMWs, and a lot of them actually, you need to go ahead and run the actual AUX cable that comes off of the kit into the port. Okay, a couple ways of doing that. You can just run it down and plug it in like I've done right now, or you can hardwire it behind. What I'll do is we'll leave it disconnected for now, do the job and test the sound, and I'll let you know what we end up doing. Once that's plugged in, you've got a section that branches off of the harness right here, and that's going to run up to our screen. This is our screen power. There's going to be some plugs on it, so there's a microphone for external mic. There's an accessory wire, don't need it. There's a reverse camera input. Okay, so if you add a camera to the car, you can plug it right into that. If you have a factory camera, disregard this, it will continue to work as normal. Another plug here for a speaker, don't worry. Reverse, and 12-volt output for a reverse camera. Okay, all of this stuff we're not using today, so tape it up. So we've now got our new quad lock connector ready to go. The original quad lock connector I've just tucked behind the dash right here, along with the bulk of our new plug, and that's ready to go into the new screen at the top here, which you can kind of see right there. And just taking note of our original car plugs, so 1, 2, not losing them. That is the AUX connection we spoke about. So for now, I'll leave it handy just in case, and we can move on to the next section. This is the inputs. So at the top here, it's going to plug into the screen. It's going to give you a video output. So if you do want to run a video out, you can. It's going to give you an accessory out as well. Tape them up if you want. That's what we're going to do. We don't need them. And then you've got 2 USB ports, 2 USB inputs. So you can do Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Okay, that's some of the plugs we've done. Now, what I also did was added one of the USB ports in this little cavity down here. Now we can look at another way of mounting that, but it's just sitting there for now. We could probably look at sticking it on the side here or leaving it as it is, but we did speak to the customer about putting one right there, and the other one we've just got running into the glove box. So that's nice and easy. You got to mount a GPS antenna. Now, the higher on the dash, the better. Now right up in here, right in the center section, there's a cavity, and the GPS antenna fits perfectly there. You will need some double-sided to sit it there, but that is sitting pretty much right here underneath. Some people put their GPS antennas up here. You can if you want, it's just ugly. You can put it right there, hidden underneath, and it's still gonna get really, really good GPS reception. So that's the first antenna. Second antenna, now this one's already got double-sided on it, is the Wi-Fi antenna. So this is for wireless CarPlay. Now, in terms of fitting, there's plenty of room back here. You can pretty much stick it anywhere you want, as long as it's not going to intrude on the screen. And mounting, right here, nice bar, runs right across, double-sided it right down. You can push on it, it's not going anywhere. Okay, now there's a bit of extra length here, so we'll bundle that up, make it look nice. Okay, so we can already see how this screen's going to fit. It's going to look so good. Let's go ahead and start plugging some stuff in. Now, you can't plug anything in the wrong spot, because each plug will only go into one housing. So, first things first, 4G antenna. Now before we go too far with the mounting side of things, what we'll do is just look at everything and make sure it works, really. Obviously we'll need to plug in the factory radio. Okay, that's just sitting in there for now. What I want to do, put the key in the ignition. Okay, so that's already booted up. Nice, very fast. Okay, touch is working, good. What about audio? So what we want to be on here, right? Audio, AUX. Now we're on AUX, now we'll play some music. Oh, beautiful. So we can hear it, right? Because obviously you pause it and it stops. So that AUX cable that we had, what we're going to do, tape it up, forget it, leave it out of the way. And I'll do that right now. Okay, now just spend some time getting this radio in. Definitely don't force it in. What you need to do is get your hand behind there. Now the good thing is there's plenty of room. And looking in here, obviously all the cables are fine. There's a little locator at the back of the radio. And what's happening is it has to go into a piece of plastic. So it's got a plastic and a locator. No, that's pretty funny to look at. And basically it's hitting the piece of plastic, so you just need to maneuver it so that the slider fits into its hole. And then after that, the radio will just slide in very easily. Now what we can do, put those two Phillips heads back in. Then we're gonna go ahead and put the climate control back in. Now the plugs are color coded, so you can't get them in the wrong way. And they'll only go in one way anyway. There's two locating pins at the bottom. So first line them up. You can go ahead, push the whole climate control back in, like so. And then this panel here can go back on. Just like that, all coming together nicely. And then what we need to do, what I want to do, is get this panel on and test that little controller, make sure she's all working. Yep. So you can see here, you've got a no signal page going on right here. That's because the car doesn't have iDrive. So if you go back and you tap on my car, if you had iDrive, you're going to see all your iDrive information. You don't have iDrive, obviously you don't see any of that information. You got vehicle info here, video and music, Bluetooth. Anyway, we're gonna go through this in a minute. Let's just go ahead and look at assembly. Now the new screen will line up with the factory mounting position. So those two Torx 20 that we removed, we're gonna pop them back in right now. And that's two. And as you screw it up, you can see it really lines up nicely at the dash. Yeah, it's very clean. When we put this panel here back on, don't forget the two plugs that it had. Once you've got these clips lined up, don't be shy. If it's really, really tight like this one is, just a little tap. Just a love tap. Plug in your hazard and unlock switch again. Pop it straight into place. That's pretty much the job done, guys. Now I'm going to clean everything up, I'll get you a good look at everything, and we'll do a quick review of the unit. Look at that. Tell me that's not the best upgrade you can do in a non-iDrive car. That has completely transformed the interior of this car. It looks absolutely insane. That's your home screen. I like using the little iDrive controller in this car. It actually works really well. Basically, how this system works, that's your home screen right there. So if you press home, it brings you right here. Navi will bring up maps. You can change the pathway of that so that if you press Navi, it brings up Carplay, Google Maps. If you download another mapping application, you can do that. Bluetooth is going to be obviously phone calls and also wireless CarPlay. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead to my Bluetooth. I'm going to look for BMW 9087. Boom, right there. I'm going to put in the password. I'm going to allow. Now keep my phone handy, okay, because it's going to ask you if you want to use CarPlay. Okay, now we are paired. So let's go back. Let's see what information we got here. Let's go apps. Now we have a whole lot of apps here. CarPlay is Z-Link. So just tap on Z-Link. It's going to open the app. Connecting already. This is wireless. Then you get use CarPlay on your phone, hit yes. And just like that, you're in Apple CarPlay. Look at the size of this screen. Honestly, this looks insane in this car. This is one of the best screens I've done. In terms of how the car looks when it's finished, this is one of the best. So I'm using my little iDrive controller right now to control. Let's go to Spotify. We'll hit enter. Okay, you can go to library. You can go to liked songs, and we can play a song. Now we'll turn the volume up. Track up and down works. So I'm changing songs right now with the steering wheel. Anyone who doesn't know how CarPlay works, it's pretty straightforward. It just connects directly to your phone, and from your phone you're going to get your phone, music, apps. You can go through your text messages, Google Maps is there, iHeartRadio if you listen to it, Waze, and any other apps you download. If they are compatible with CarPlay, they'll come up here. For example, YouTube Music. I don't have it, but it is compatible. Then we can scroll from the top and go home, or you can press car and get you back into your apps page. On the Idrive Controller, there's a home button as well, which I've just pressed. At the top here, so you've got My BMW. That's going to take you to a no signal screen, but if you did have an original iDrive system, it will come up here and you'll see all that stuff. Settings, so if you go into settings, you've got your volume settings, navigation settings, okay, so this is what I mean. You can select maps, that's fine. Back car, which is camera, no reverse, so if we go into reverse, so we want to turn that off. Now, even with the camera settings off, if you go into reverse, it'll switch you to a OPS display. So if you had a camera, this will be a camera. You don't have a camera, it's showing you your parking sensors. You can hear them going off and you can see the green right there. Okay, go to park, it's just going to bring you right back into the screen. Press the menu, brings us back home. That's pretty much it for settings. You've got navigation settings, volume. The system runs Android 10, and you've got system settings as well. Navi, so if you press Navi, it's going to bring up Google Maps for you. Music, you can store music on the device through the USB or one of the USBs, or you can, have a USB or hard drive of music, whatever you prefer. And you can go down all the way to My Apps, or Apps rather. Now here you've got Google Chrome, Drive, YouTube, Z-Link, which is, like I said, that's your CarPlay, Play Store, Maps, Gmail, all that sort of stuff. To use most of this, for example, if you want to use Play Store and go and download YouTube, which is already here, but Netflix, anything like that, you'll need to connect to the internet. Now how do you do that? You go from the top, turn on Wi-Fi, press and hold, and it will open up. From here, you can either connect a hotspot, which could be your phone, right? Everyone's phone, every smartphone gives out a hotspot signal if you want. You can put a hotspot device in the vehicle and use it that way. And basically it needs internet. So one way or another, you need to connect it to the internet. And then you can go back. And once you're connected to the internet, you can go to Play Store, you can sign in, and you can download apps, and you can go and sign in on YouTube, and you can start using all your favorite features. And guys, that is pretty much it. All right, there it is, guys. That's how CarPlay will look when it's all done. So I've changed the thing to the right hand side, we've changed the logo there to BMW, and that is the job done. That is the job done, guys. It's a very, very straightforward installation, and like I said, it brings the interior of this car right up to date. It looks so much better. If you have any questions regarding the installation, drop them in the comments below. If you want to go ahead and pick this exact screen up, it'll be on the website, www.shoptfb.com. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.